Hello everyone, today I am talking about a new indie game called Street Cleaner 3. This is a new release from Creaky Lantern Games, and it came out on February 28th, 2025. Featuring great music and visuals, the game has a fresh take on the Castlevania 3 style of side-scrolling platforming with multiple character options. I'm going to be upfront with you and let you know that I received a free copy of this game from the developer, and there was no expectation of me playing it or even making a review. It was just an email that straight up said, "Hey, I made this, you might like it, hope you enjoy it." And yeah, they were right, this is very much a Verts game. This is Creaky Lantern Games' sequel to Street Cleaner 1, despite the 3 in the title. Bit of a joke there, as a lot of NES sequels went in very different directions. Think of Castlevania 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 3 are fairly similar action platformers, with 3 directly improving on 1. Castlevania 2 is the black sheep of the family in a way, with different mechanics and a more open world to explore. Street Cleaner 3 skips over that awkward sequel step to get straight to the improvements on the original. In the game, you start out as Hanako, a girl who has a mysterious amulet that some ninjas and goons seem intent on snatching from her. As you progress through the levels, you will recruit 2 other characters to your cause, including the titular street cleaner, and go on a journey to learn about the amulet and put a stop to the bad guys. 9 levels with some mixed playstyles thrown in culminate in a final boss fight and a conclusion to the story of the amulet. One key thing to know about this game is that the music is excellent throughout. Most tracks are fast-paced and fitting for each area. The musician Street Cleaner developed the music as a full album, and it's a great synthwave soundtrack that keeps you moving and grooving throughout the game. Every boss gets their own unique track, too. Visuals are also quite good here. The sprites are distinct against the backgrounds, and there was only one time when I walked into an enemy because I didn't quite make them out against the game world. Everything is colorful and bright, and it matches the musical tone of the game well. There are also plenty of throwbacks to other classic platformers. In the first level, you reach a point where you can climb up the level with 2 paths. And if you directly compare this level with Batman the video game on NES, you'll see a nearly direct pull of level design here. I think that's great, and having recently learned the speedrun for Batman, I enjoyed the reference. I think good level design and skill design are timeless. On the whole, I love the presentation of this game, and I thought it did justice to old school aesthetics while clearly being modern. But you're not here just for a recap of how the game looks and sounds, you want to know how it plays. To be blunt, it's really good with only a few minor complaints. I mentioned earlier that you start out with 1 character and recruit 2 others along the way. Hanako, your starting character, moves quickly and punches and kicks enemies. She can also throw a special weapon up in an arc akin to Castlevania's axes. She does less damage than the other 2, but she has a dodge roll that I instantly forgot about and completed the game without using. I recommend using the dodge roll, unlike me, because it lets you pass through enemies and projectiles. Kogeks, your second character, is this game's Belmont-style character. Though I haven't played the first Street Cleaner yet, it's made clear in this game that he's a returning character, a reformed villain of sorts. He moves slowly, but he hits harder than Hanako. He uses a chain whip either horizontally or with a down attack, and he releases rolling gears for a special weapon. Our final hero is the titular Street Cleaner, Slade. He joins up during Stage 3, a motorcycle level in which he follows a van with goons who kidnapped Hanako and Kogeks. He knows something about the history of Hanako's amulet, but he keeps his secrets close to his chest until the big reveal at the end of the game. His speed is roughly between Kogeks and Hanako, he attacks with a bat, and he can shoot a gun. Obviously the rounded character, but he seems to be as strong as Kogeks with a bit less range. Once you have all 3 characters, each level will give you multiple ways to move forward, which is a very strong point in this game's favor. You can stick with one character all the way, or swap them around. Hanako can climb and jump off some walls in addition to her dodge roll. Kogeks can walk on spikes and electricity, and he has a small backup dash with a somewhat long cooldown. And Street Cleaner can dive kick off of enemies and some objects to reach higher areas. Once you beat the game, you unlock both a hard mode and some solo modes, so each level can be completed by any of the three. But finishing this game is not the end. After your first playthrough, you receive some voicemails on the main menu. Listening to them, you can get a few phone numbers to call. One of these numbers unlocks a few new game modes, but the other sets you on a path through the full game again in search of more secrets to unlock an alternate ending. The second playthrough was satisfying and included some very fun platforming challenges. I mentioned a few minor complaints earlier. Again, pretty small things. On the first screen of the game, there's a TV that you can press up near to get game controls. Now, I probably should have remembered that the first TV in the game told me I had a dodge ability. However, I simply forgot it existed and I didn't realize its benefit. The developer added another television later in the level to explain that the dodge lets you get through enemies and hazards so that people like me can avoid forgetting about it. I am tempted to say that the dev could have made the first level a bit more of a tutorial, but at the same time, I think overly tutorialized levels are the bane of indie games. I think the dev made a decent call by adding the extra info spot. A minor complaint is how close Hanako needs to be to hit enemies. There were a few times when I would attack an enemy and be way too close because it was hard to determine her distance. This does let me get a few hits in, but then I would get hit back by the enemy's hitbox. Fortunately, Hanako's hit does seem to stun most enemies temporarily, which allows for some nice speedrun tech if you want to do that. My only other complaint is about the momentum of your characters. Often it works out to your benefit that you start moving a bit slowly, then accelerate, and then retain speed as you jump. However, because Kogeks is particularly slow, I found it harder to do platforming sections using him. I'd often have to swap to Slade or Hanako to gain speed, then swap to Kogeks for some benefits like spike resistance. Kogeks ended up being the guy that beat bosses and sometimes walked over spikes for me. It felt like a bit of a shame. Despite these complaints though, I think that Street Cleaner 3 is one of the best indie games I've played in a while. Controls are generally precise and tight, visuals and sound are excellent, and the full run of the game provides a compelling challenge that left me wanting more. And it continues to give more with an alternate ending, different difficulties and play options, and plenty of secrets. So I'd say check this one out, I think it'll be worth your time. Thanks for watching this video. If you played this game, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments. And of course, I'd appreciate any likes and new subscriptions if you appreciate this content. Thanks again, and have a great day.